Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list as my gameplay video did not upload, so I'm kind of doing a last minute audible and doing this tier list. So sorry if it's a bit rushed because it's kind of very last minute. But I'm going to be looking at the different holds in Skyrim. There are 9 of them, although I'm assuming, well, Solstime's not here, so we're not going to be looking at Solstheim, although I think you could class that as a hold. Although it's not really in Skyrim, it's in Morrowind, so I guess that's why it's not here. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be looking at the 9 holds of Skyrim, and we're going to get started with Dawnstar, which I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really dislike any of the holds of Skyrim, so even D is not really that bad. But Dawnstar's a C. There's not too much that goes on there. There is the Daedric quest about, them all being asleep, where you go back in time using a potion. That is quite an interesting quest. There's also the Mehrunes Razor. The Mehrunes museum, I guess. So it's a little more Oblivion throwback, which I do appreciate because Oblivion is my favorite game. So that starts there. That is quite interesting. Obviously, there is the secondary Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary that is there, which is also an interesting place that you kill Cicero in. But other than that, I don't particularly find much enjoyment going there. It's kind of a barren place. It's kind of, it's a mining town. There's 2 mines on either side that hate each other. And that's kind of the main gist of the town. It's not a super interesting town, which is something you find with quite a few of the outlying towns. You find that there's not actually that much to do there, so it's kind of a C. It's not the most pretty either. So typically I'll only go to Dawnstar if I really have to, and as such it's only a C. Now Falkreath is like Dawnstar. It's probably, I think it's the most underused hold. You got to keep in mind we are looking at the hold as well, so not just the city, which maybe I did a little with Dawnstar. I just look at the city itself and not the surrounding hold. But that is also like the centerpiece of the hold, so you kind of do take a lot from that. But Falkreath is a place that really does gain from its surrounding hold, because Falkreath itself is quite a quiet, quaint, little area. Not that much goes on there. There's obviously the Helgen quest, and you can depose the Jarl and stuff like that. But the surrounding hold is so pretty. It is honestly the most underused hold, but I don't mind because just walking around it is really peaceful. There's not too much that goes on there. You've got Angie's camp to the south, which I called in the other video Anya's camp. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, even though I adore her camp. Because you get archery levels there for free, pretty much. You've also got, some ruined towers, some barrows. But most of all, you just got lush green scenery, which is just nice to walk in. That's why the Helgen quest being set there is really good. There's also a cave with hunters where you get someone's lucky dagger. I forget his name, but that is also there's a lot of low level quests here. This is somewhere I recommend you go when you're low leveled. I also think it also has Helgen in it. I think Helgen will fall under Falkreath. I have actually got my map today, so I can actually have a look at it. Yes, Helgen falls under Falkreath, whereas Dawnstar didn't have anything else in it. The Pale is kind of just... Well, it has castles. I should probably point that out. It has castles. And also will have dragon mounds and such, but the Falkreath hold is, it's just a pretty place that I really do like. Also has Pale Pass and is on the border of Cyrodiil. I believe Pale Pass is where you can see the White Gold Tower from if you stand at the top of it. Also, Pale Pass, wasn't that in Oblivion? And isn't that also quite a fun area? I think so, anyway. Anyway, we're going to move on to the Reach, which is Markarth, as you can read. And Markarth is honestly one of my favorites. It's grown on me a lot. Okay, first off, downgrade. There is a giant frostbite spider right below it. But aside from that, it has some of the most fun and interesting quests with the Reachmen, and like you've got just a unique enemy style, which you can find in other places, but it's most common in the Reach. You've got in Mark Off Yourself below it is a whole Dwemer ruin. You've got the Dwemer Museum. You've got the prison, the whole prison escape quest. That's really fun. And like it starts out as a murder mystery, ends with a prison escape, which you can either help the Reachmen or not. You've got you've got the Molag Bal quest there, which is quite fun. You've got Carthwaston. It's kind of an underused town, but it's there and it's nice. And then you've got the rest of the Reach. You've got like mines are quite common in the Reach. You've got the I think in the Reach you'll find the pub with the Old Horolden Inn, I think it is, with Hrogi's ghost. I think that's what it's called, which is quite an interesting quest. If it's not there, then I am sorry. I've attributed something to Markarth that I shouldn't have. But I'm pretty sure it's in the south, and I don't think it's in the Rift, and I know it's not in Falkreath, so pretty sure it's in the Reach. Anyway, it's just a nice area. It's obviously Markarth is heavily inspired by Dwellers, which are some of my favorite characters in not just in Skyrim, in the Elder Scrolls. So obviously because of their mystery and all that stuff, and trying to figure out why they all disappeared, apart from that one guy in Morrowind. Morthal is unfortunately going to be my D tier, mainly for the city and how like little really goes on there. You've got a vampire being outside the city. You've got the hide and seek quest, which is also that one. So that's also quite fun. You got Labyrinthian, which I do really appreciate being there. Like that adds a lot of points to Morthal itself. But actually, in that city, there's not a lot that goes on there, and I find it's really just a city that I find myself only going to go to Labyrinthian in the end. Like the first time I'll go to it is to go to Labyrinthian, which I will go to for the College of Winterhold, which is quite late into the College of Winterhold, and by that point I'll already be like level 35, and I haven't even been to Morthal yet. And it's like, I probably should have been to it by then, considering it is almost central. Hjalmarch is it's not central because Whiterun's central, but it's pretty close to central. However, I do find it interesting. I think it has the abandoned hut in it, although I commonly attribute that to Solitude. I think it's in Hjalmarch, which is obviously where the first Dark Brotherhood, second Dark Brotherhood quest takes place, and is obviously quite an interesting quest itself. But as I said, there's not too much that goes on with Morthal. It almost is just there. So unfortunately, it's the lowest ranked, but I still think it adds some value, and I do appreciate it, mainly because of Labyrinthian and how amazing Labyrinthian is. Rifton, well, S tier. I mean, come on, it's got the Thieves Guild. Need I say more? Don't even need to worry about anything else that goes on there. And to be fair, there isn't actually that much else that goes on in Rifton. It's mostly just the Thieves Guild. But honestly, that's all it needs. You know, like the Thieves Guild can take up the entire Rift, and it's just interesting because of that. I mean, there are other things in the Rift though. There's Shorestone and Iverstead, so it's got two villages. Or Iverstead you'll commonly go to if you go. It's the start of the. How many steps? However many steps to the Throat of the World. And it's common. It's actually the reason why I often go side questing is because Iverstead is so far out of the way, and the Throat of the World, beginning of the Throat of the World is. So oftentimes I will just run around and go other places. Shutstone is quite underused in Skyrim, but in ESO it's kind of fun because I played ESO and I actually quite appreciated Shutstone. but I'm trying not to use ESO to influence anything here. So yeah, just S tier, mainly because of Thieves Guild, Nightingale, all that stuff. The brewery quests are also quite interesting, or not brewery quests, but the yeah, it's a brewery. It's not a quest though. It's just like the story of that is quite interesting. Now we go to Solitude, which is a solid B tier. It's got the Bard's College, always interesting. It's got Sheogorath, interesting, always an interesting guy, that one. However, that doesn't really, it does take place in Solitude. You just get transported to a different dimension real quick. You've got, obviously, you've got the Dark Brotherhood last quest taking place. No, it doesn't take place there, but it takes place near there in Hafingar. You've got the other Dark, well, there is a Dark Brotherhood quest there where it's kill the groom or the bride. I think it's the bride for the marriage. Or crash the wedding, I should have said, if I didn't know which one it was. I'm pretty sure it's the bride. It also has Dragon's Bridge, which is quite underused, but you do get the quest to kill the runner there, not the runner, the Imperial captain there. That's quite interesting. There's also a lot of there's a lot of other stuff around Solitude. Like Solitude has quite a few interesting quests. There's the two Argonian Thief quest, which they trick you. That's quite an interesting one. There's quite a few bandit camps as well to the north. There's also the Aldemari Embassy there, obviously, which you go to in the main story, which is an interesting quest. So attribute it to Hafingar. So it's a solid B because, unfortunately, for Solitude, it's a city that I don't appreciate going to. I don't appreciate the fact that the guy gets his head chopped off as soon as you walk into the city. I get why it happens and why it's a good thing for story, but it's like, bro, I've just walked in your city. Why is this guy getting his head chopped off? I don't understand it. And then you realize if your values align with his or not, whether you agree with his head getting chopped off. I personally don't agree with it, but it's how it is. Because I always tried to stop it, but you can't. What else? You can also meet all the Jarls you've deposed in the Civil War questline in the basement of the Blue Palace, which is Solitude's keep. But yeah, that's all for Solitude. Oh yeah, actually no, it's not. There's also one really good quest there, which is the Wolf Queen, I think she was, where you have to go into the dungeons and kill a bunch of vampires. That's quite a fun quest. And Draugr as well. Next up, we have Whiterun, the undisputed, just stable, amazing city of Skyrim, where you go there and you kind of just you kind of always go there. You always start going to Whiterun. You'll go to Riverwood, then you go to Whiterun. It's where the story tells you to go. But more than that, it also has Jarl Balgruf, probably the best Jarl. Unless you depose him like I do every time. I'm sorry, Jarl. Please forgive me. Also, as you first killing a dragon and learning that you're the Dragonborn, which is big brownie points. But aside from that, it has the companions. It has the best shop in the game. It's not. I don't know if it's the best shop, but it's the one I always go to. It also has the Skyforge, which is really cool. And not much has been done with the Skyforge, but it's really cool. It has the Talos priest, which is a nice addition. It has the temple quests, which I can appreciate, although I seem to do them really, really late. It has a bunch of children running around playing tag. That's always fun, and one of them getting bullied. Aside from that, it has Rorikstead, which is a really interesting story that I spent about 15 minutes watching a video on that I'm not going to go into, because I would also be sitting here for 15 minutes talking about exactly what they said. But it also has a lot of giant camps, it has a lot of bandit camps. It is a really just good start to the game. Oh, and it also has Bleakfall's Barrow in it. We all love Bleakfall's Barrow, the first barrow of the game, even though it has a giant frostbite spider in it, but we forgive it. Windhelm, another one. Unfortunately, my ESO bias is kind of drifting into this one because it was my favourite city to be in ESO. and that's what I'm going to say on ESO, because in Skyrim it is unfortunately actually going to go down to A tier in Skyrim. But in ESO it would be S tier, but in Skyrim it's A tier because unfortunately, the city itself, it's in turmoil. It's really pretty. I really love Ingol's Barrow and all the farms around it, but the city itself is in turmoil. I don't like the racism between the Argonians and the Dark Elves and the Nords, which may have still existed in ESO, but I didn't really pay as much attention to it there because it's not as prevalent. However, in Skyrim, it's obviously the head of the Stormcloaks, so I enjoy it because of that. I do love the murder mystery quest that's there, which is very interesting. One of my favorites. Actually, that's something I didn't mention about the Rift, although it kind of is all over the world. But the Forbidden Legend questline does culminate in the Rift, so more brownie points for it. But back to the Windhelm, which is Eastmarch, I believe. Yes, Eastmarch. I don't usually use their hold names, so I mean, yeah. I was gonna say who does, but I was gonna say actually quite a few people do. But anyway, back to Windhelm. So there's those. There's the dock. Obviously, takes you to Solstheim. Takes you on other quests as well. There is around Eastmarch. There is a lot of barrows, but a lot of Dwemer ruins that are very much appreciated. As I said, Ingol's Barrow is really interesting, and it's just a really cool place to be. Windhelm is also the oldest city in Skyrim and is greatly appreciated for how just pretty it is. And finally, Winterhold. Solid B tier. Actually, no, we're going to go with C tier. It has the College of Winterhold, and that's pretty much it. You can get a claw there from the general goods, and that's about it. Winterhold also doesn't hold that much else. It has some cool areas, as all of them do. There's some Dwemer ruins, there's some barrows, but Winterhold itself is very underwhelming, obviously because it's been destroyed. It's not overly pretty, but if you're a College of Winterhold enjoyer, you'll love Winterhold because obviously you've got the college. But if you're like me and you're not overly fussed about it, you kind of just put it in a C tier because it's kind of like, I can live without it, I can go enjoy the other areas of the game. However, Winterhold is still greatly appreciated. But that has been it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed. Sorry it was a bit rushed and I've been rambling, but I do really love Skyrim, so please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.